Welcome to Getting Started with CREST for Primary. My name is Caris. I'm an Education Officer here at the British Science Association. And with me, I have my colleagues Christine and Susan, who are going to help answer any of your questions. So what are the CREST Awards? So CREST Awards help inspire young people to think and behave like scientists and engineers. CREST activities are hands-on, practical and engaging, covering a broad range of STEM topics and themes, as well as making cross-curricular links. CREST activities are open-ended and student-led, using an inquiry-based learning approach with real-world context, and they are easy-to-use resources to support you deliver practical science in the classroom. So we offer 6 award levels of CREST, 3 of which are most suitable for primary. So the 3 sort of suitable for primary levels are Star, Superstar and Discovery. Star Awards are typically for 3 to 7-year-olds. They are comprised of 6 to 8 one-hour-long activities and cost £1 per student. Superstar Awards are for 7 to 11-year-olds typically. Again, are 6 to 8 one-hour-long activities and cost £1 per student. And then Discovery Awards are typically for 10 to 14-year-olds. They take 5 hours to complete, so can be done in one day and cost £3 per student. Just to note that all ages that I've just gone through there are a guideline. You can do any award level with any students. You just need to choose whichever you think is most suitable. And the other thing is that those prices are different. They are free for children in Wales, where CREST is fully subsidised by the Welsh Government. When you're thinking about running CREST Awards, there's a few different ways you can do this. So you may choose to run the CREST Awards during your science lessons, perhaps in a science club, or an online club, or for homework, something for children to do with their parents. You may choose to do CREST Awards during British Science Week. British Science Week this year is the 7th to 16th of March 2025, or during a STEM day, sort of off timetable day. The picture I've just shown there and the link that's on the slides is part of a document on how CREST Awards can be used to support the primary curriculum. You'll get these slides, but if you follow that link, that explains the links between all the CREST activities and the curricula for England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. The process of doing CREST Awards. So the first step, if you're considering doing CREST Awards, is to sort of plan how you want to run your awards. You'll need to think about who do you want to do the awards, so which pupils will you be working with, how can you maybe encourage young people who may not see science as being for them to take part. Where and when will you be doing your awards? Is this going to be in a STEM club or in lesson time, during British Science Week, or just sort of one activity each half term? And also thinking about how you'll be covering the CREST Award fees. Do you need to get permission for these from somebody in your senior leadership team? Are you considering applying for Engage funding, which I will explain a little bit more in a moment? Or is there equipment you might need to purchase in order to do your CREST Awards? And within our CREST resource library, there are resources called CREST on a shoestring that require less equipment. The next step is to choose which activities you want to do. So there's lots of free resources available to download from the CREST resource library, or you can create your own resources. For Star and Superstar, you need to choose 6 to 8 activities to run, whereas for Discovery, you just choose the one project to run. Then in order to actually achieve your CREST Awards, you need to run those activities with the young people and then apply for your certificates online to earn the awards. You as the teacher can assess if you think your pupils have achieved the award. You wouldn't need to send us any of their work. You just need to apply for those certificates and let us know which activities they've done. And also on these slides here, I've linked the Primary Getting Started guide. So that goes through all of that in a lot more detail for you. So I'm just going to go through the Star and Superstar Awards first in a bit more detail, and then the Discovery Award. So a little bit on the kind of resources we provide. So all the CREST resources in the resource library are completely free. And from there, for each of the activities, for Star and Superstar, there are organiser and activity cards. So the organiser card has instructions for you, the teacher, about how to run the activity, what equipment you might need, health and safety considerations, sort of all the steps. And the activity cards are for the pupils. They have a little bit of a sort of background story introducing the activity and things to think about and the instructions for the activity. For the majority of our Star and Superstar activities, we also have instructional videos. So these have somebody going through that activity for you, explaining how to run that as the teacher and sort of showing you an example. And then for some of our resources, particularly those that are suitable for early years, we have presentations that can be shown to the pupils to kind of introduce the activity, particularly for pupils who maybe not be reading yet, and therefore the activity cards aren't as suitable. So now I'm going to just do a couple of quick examples of some of those activities. So the first one is a STAR activity aimed at 3 to 5-year-olds. This is Constellation Encounters, and it's from our Earth and Beyond Early Years pack. So in this activity, children learn about stars and constellations. They get to see some examples of constellations, think about, can they say the names of the constellations, can they count the stars? Then they can choose a constellation to recreate as a poster, shown in the picture here, using sort of tinfoil and chalk on some black paper. So another STAR activity, this time aimed more at 5 to 7-year-olds, is Animal Adventures. And this is from the CREST on a Shoestring collection. So requiring very few resources. In Animal Adventures, pupils search in an outdoor space like your playground for mini beasts. They need to think about where they're going to be looking, how are they going to be collecting these animals and making sure not to harm them, how are they going to record what they find, are they going to draw pictures, and then present those findings to the class. And now an example of a Superstar activity, this time aimed at 7 to 11-year-olds. This is Fantastic Fingerprints, also from the CREST on a Shoestring collection. In this, pupils investigate their own fingerprints using chalk or cocoa powder, flour, or anything really that can be used to create visible dust on a white or black background. And they can then compare their fingerprints to their classmates and think about other ways to collect fingerprints or other ways to identify individuals. So as they go through these activities, children can use a CREST passport to keep track of the challenges they've completed. They just need to mark off at least 6 of these little circles on their passport using a sticker or a stamp or just drawing on them. And once they've done that, they can earn their CREST award and recognise their achievement with a certificate. So that's the step where you need to apply online and get the certificate sent to you in the post. So now I'm going to briefly go through the Discovery Awards. So in the Discovery Awards, pupils work in teams to learn about a topic, then develop their own idea and present their findings before reflecting on their learning. The Discovery Awards require a bit more sort of independent learning and thinking compared to Star and Superstar. In the Discovery Awards, they're trying to prove to you that they've shown the sort of discovery assessment objectives. So that's self-management, team working, problem solving, research, communication, and reflective practice. I've put some useful links here in the slides. So there's the Discovery Getting Started guide, which should have all the information you need to begin running Discovery Awards. Also an article about just how you assess the pupils' discovery project, because you as the teacher will be assessing their work. And the How to Create a Discovery Project is about how you go about ordering those certificates. So an example of a Discovery Award, it's again aimed at 10 to 14-year-olds, is Machines of the Future. In this, pupils learn about AI and machine learning, and perhaps you do too. In this, they have to think about sort of what tasks would they trust a machine to do, understanding sort of how does machine learning work, and they then work in their groups to design a household product that uses machine learning before presenting their ideas back to you and the class. With these sort of resources, you get a booklet for the teacher explaining everything about the project, a booklet for the students with all the tasks they need to do, and also a presentation to sort of introduce the project. So there's also a CREST Discovery Passport where pupils can reflect on their project. This is sort of done just after finishing the project, and you can use this to assess their work and then order and award their certificates. So there are 2 main ways of running a Discovery Award. So one is to run it as a drop-down day or off-timetable STEM day. This means that you've got a bit more continuity and sort of an opportunity to work on a real-world issue and have more time to devote to sort of the planning and analysis, and also allows a bit more time for the reflective practice on what was done during the day and how successful the challenge was. Or you can run it as 5 individual sessions, perhaps in lesson time or in a science club. these would be shorter and then maybe easier to keep pupils' attention. You can still link sort of each session to one another, and this may be more convenient for you to run separate sessions. So in here, I'm just going to go through these really briefly, but these are the timings for doing the project as a one day, and then the timings to do them as 5 separately. But just in brief, and this is an example for Machines of the Future, you would sort of split that up and do your starter, where you sort of introduce the topic, then the workshops. So those are little activities where they develop their knowledge and understanding. Then after break, a sort of research and planning stage, where they research their ideas, begin to develop their own plan and idea. Following lunch, the design stage, where they design, in this case, their machine learning tool. Then once everything's designed up, teams present back their design to the class, and you have the chance for feedback and questions. And then at the end, just that little bit of time for reflecting and completing that discovery passport. This is very similar sort of structure in the doing it in 5 sessions, but you just would start with the starter and one workshop group together for 1 hour, then the 2 workshops for 1 hour, and then you've got your research and planning, your design, and your presentations and reflection group together. Again, you'll have these slides, so you'll be able to read this in detail if you would like to. So I briefly mentioned earlier that there is funding available for CREST Awards. So our Engage funding is open currently until the 15th of October, and there's 2 types of Engage funding available. So there's an Engage grant, which is £350 of grant money, plus a voucher of £350 to cover those CREST Award fees and all of the certificates. We also have Engage Simply CREST, which is new this year, which is just the voucher for the £350 to cover the CREST Award fees. If you're interested in applying for Engage funding, I recommend you come along to our talk, Engage Grants Application Tips, which is 4 p.m. on the 3rd of October. Once you have these slides, you'll be able to click that link. And also, yeah, do follow the link there as well to look through the website, check all the eligibility criteria, that you meet those. You know, there's a lot of guidelines there and guidance to help you write a really good application. Okay, so now it's time to see if you guys have any questions. Please pop them in the chat if you do. And while you do that, I'll just check if Susan or Christine had anything they wanted to add that maybe I didn't cover.
I think you did cover it, Karis, but we do have an extensive resource library, so it's worth having a browse and seeing what activities might appeal to your students if you've got students with particular interests, and you can essentially make up that collection for star or superstar of activities that you think are easiest for you to do with your group, are most suited to your setting, or most appeal to your young people. So there is a minimum of 6 of those little mini projects to make up a CREST Award, but you can choose which ones suit you and your young people.
So where do I submit the list of my pupils who completed STAR activities?
So just have to mention that for Star and Superstar, we don't collect list of pupils or name of students. The Star and Superstar certificates are sent non-personalized, meaning they're sent blank without names of pupils or students.
I also made a note earlier, if you weren't, if you didn't see it go past, that the certificates can also be ordered ahead of time for Star, Superstar, and Discovery. And lots of teachers opt to do that, so they have them in hand and ready to be handed out, especially if they're doing something within one day, like the drop-down day for the Discovery. They want to order those ahead of time, and they can take a number of weeks. We do have them professionally printed, so we do recommend that you give it sort of 3 to 4 weeks to arrive and make sure you've got them to hand out.
And also, if I may add, from September 1, we stopped providing badges. So if, for example, you ran Star and Superstar CREST Awards, then you only receive the certificates for your pupils.
It was great to have everyone attend, and we will share these slides and this recording with you. And yeah, just note that at the end here, I've linked just our email address. You can always email us with any questions. If you come up with a question later that you forgot to ask, do get in touch by email. There's a link there to that resource library, as Susan was saying, where they have a huge bank of free resources that you can use, and also a link to our CREST Help Centre, which has all our help articles.